Yo, what up? How's it going? And welcome back for another video. In today's video, I will be showing you guys my 5 techniques for all TFT players. Now, I think this video is best served for beginners to intermediate players, where I think as if you're an advanced player, something like Masters Plus, you probably already do all of these things. But you know, you can take it or leave it. These are some things that I try to utilize in all my grind sessions and techniques that I do, and pretty much all high elo players utilize in all of their games. So let's just get into it. First thing we're talking about is pre-leveling. A lot of these things I do have clips attached to them to show you how to perform these if you have no idea how to do some of this stuff. But some of them I don't, like pre-leveling is something I don't feel like I need to attach a clip. Very simple concept. So if you guys have followed my channel for a while, you probably heard me say pre-leveling quite a bit. Or if you watch anybody stream, they'll probably say pre-level a few times a game. And so let's talk about it. What is pre-leveling and why? This is the act of buying XP to within 2 experience points of leveling, causing you to level up when the next round begins. This is most commonly done on 1-4, which is the last PvE round at the beginning of the game, and 2-3, which is the round right before you go to your second carousel, or, you know, if you don't count where the game starts on carousel, it's the first carousel after the game start. You know what I mean? So 1-4 and 2-3. And you pre-level to level 4 and level 5 respectively for both of those spots. So essentially what that just means is you pay for 1 XP point, which would be 4 XP. You know, you pay for XP once, 4 XP. And what that does is, you know, you'll be 8 out of 10 XP, I think, when you're going on 1-4. And when 2-1 starts, which is the next round, the following round, you will be level 4. So the benefit of this is your shop odds are increased to the new level, most commonly done to hit a critical 2 or 3 cost to your build. So as I said, if you're level 3 and when the round changes, you level up to level 4, that shop that shows up next shop will be a level 4 shop. And that is exactly why people pre-level, is to get that extra shop at the better odds versus players who don't pre-level. This is the best time to do this is when you have an upgraded 1-star to play around, and you are either leveling to streak, like you are going to pre-level for your chance to streak, or your biggest spike is a 3 cost. Those things can be together as well. So like, for example, you have a 2-star TF and a 2-star Darius. You may pre-level, you might want to pre-level because the best way to upgrade your board is to get either like a Blitzcrank, a Zyra, or a Shaco might be the best, or Leona might be the best way to upgrade your board, or a Malzahar, something like that, rather than staying at level 3 and adding like a Ziggs and a Poppy. So you may want to pre-level for your chance to streak to hit those units that would more spike your board. Another scenario is if you have a Mercenary Heart and all you have is an Alawi, then you may want to pre-level so that you can have better odds of hitting Quinn, better odds of hitting Gangplank, better odds of hitting Misfortune, so that you can hit your Merc. So those are the type of scenarios you want to do it. Win streak, or if your best spike is a 3 cost or a 2 cost. The worst time to do this is when you have nothing upgraded, or you know, or have like a Merc card or something like that. You know, you don't have anything that indicates that you need a 3 cost or that you need to upgrade. So not pre-leveling in a weak early game, you are presented with a weak early game, it gives you the most options. So for example, here are the options that you have if you don't pre-level. You have a better odds of hitting a 2-star 1 cost, which could save your early game, which could make you a lot more stronger. You have opportunity to hit econ thresholds that players who paid that 4 gold will not have opportunity for. So you can hit econ thresholds maybe a round or 2 quicker, which could pay off really hugely in stage 3 for your econ. Or you have the option to lose streak. Since you have such a weak early game, you could just say, all right, screw it, I'm going to have a weak early game. And if you pre-level, that kind of ruins that option because you're not going to be able to hit eco thresholds. And since you are leveling, you are more likely to beat other people who have weak early games. So again, if you are in a situation where you can win streak, or you really need a 3 cost more than you need an upgraded 1 cost, then pre-leveling is a good idea. But in situations where you don't really have a game plan for getting a 3 cost or a 2 cost, or you don't have any upgraded units, it's best usually to just not pre-level so that you can have more options. 2, bumping off items. So I'd say this is a little bit more of an advanced technique that you won't just like do every single game, or, you know, if you've only been playing for a little bit, you probably haven't come across actually doing this. So what is this? How does it work? Bumping off items is when you have an item on an unupgraded unit, or maybe a 2-star and you're upgrading to a 3-star, or a 1-star to a 2-star. that you take off the item by upgrading the unit with 4 total items. Okay, that may have sounded confusing, and I am going to have a clip attached where I show exactly me doing this, but let me just explain further, and I can help you conceptualize it. You can manipulate which item you take off by following a couple rules. So you can manipulate which item you want off of your unit, or the 3 items you want on there. So when combining, the game prioritizes one completed item. So, you know, a glove versus a QSS. QSS is a completed item. It would always prioritize QSS. No matter what you do, it would prioritize QSS over that glove, because a glove is a component and not a completed item. 2 items on your board unit. It prioritizes item on your board unit rather than the bench unit. So if you have 2 units, like you have a Kog'Maw on your board, a Kog'Maw on your bench, and you have 3 items on the Kog'Maw on the board, and these are all completed items, and 1 item completed on your Kog'Maw on the bench. If you combine them, the Kog'Maw on the bench, that item would be bumped off. It would always prioritize the unit that you have on the board, and the vice versa would be true. Even though this Kog'Maw has 3 items and this Kog'Maw has 1 item, if you swap them and put the 1 item there and the 3 item one on the bench, it will prioritize the unit on the board, or at least it should. Hardly do you ever come into these scenarios, and you can't pick up, this isn't perfect, by the way. You can't always get the best possible 3 of the 4 items, but you can always ensure that you get the item that you're prioritizing on. So, and I'll talk about this in the example at the end of the slide. You can utilize this regularly to save you from having to sell critical units. Now, yeah, I don't have to do this all the time. And even in the clip that I showed, I had to manufacture a situation because it wouldn't have happened naturally to me. I wouldn't have had the problem. And so, but this does happen sometimes. Doesn't happen all the time. But the times that it does happen, when you're able to utilize this skill, it can save you a lot of gold by not having to roll for that unit again. And especially very important when you have very critical units like 5 costs and 4 costs that you really don't want to sell. Here we are. So I've manufactured this situation quite greatly. So I'm about to upgrade my Kog'Maw. I want to get this Runan's Hurricane, and I want to get this item off. So I will just buy the Kog'Maw. Doesn't matter what's on the bench, and it'll always knock that one off. So that's how it works. The other thing is, if we wanted a situation where we had 4 completed items. So let's say we actually had 4 completed items. We had these completed items. We also had a jeweled gauntlet, right? So let's pretend our Kog'Maw had a QSS, a Runan's Hurricane, and a jeweled gauntlet. Well, I obviously want to get Giant Slayer onto my Kog'Maw. And so let's say it's a 2-star Kog'Maw. We have another 2-star Kog'Maw with a Giant Slayer. So all the items are completed. All that we would do differently is we would just make sure, and I'll show this in just a second. So pretend this was a Giant Slayer Kog'Maw, and this was a QSS Runan's plus JG. This is the Giant Slayer Kog'Maw. And so before we combine all of our Kog'Maws together, all we would do is put our other Kog'Maw onto the board, or the Kog'Maw that has the Giant Slayer, and then we would combine our units, and it would make sure that the Giant Slayer is on our Kog'Maw. The only downside is we would risk losing a QSS, which is a core item for Kog'Maw. That would be the only downside. But if you just agree that Giant Slayer is more important than QSS, then you can make that trade. 3, cycling items. So what is this and why? This is when you put an offensive position-based item, which I'm talking about Zephyr and Shroud specifically, on a sellable unit, in quotations. Sell that unit the next round so that you can reposition your items at the start of the following round. So this is when, you guys have all seen this, I'm sure. You hold your Zephyr, like you have a Zephyr built, you hold it, and then when the next round begins, before combat actually starts, you put down the Zephyr put down the Zephyr or a Shroud on a unit to give you the best possible Zephyr or Shroud for that round. And then when the round ends, when you're going into the next round, we sell that sellable unit, and so that we can have another unit put onto the board, so we can put the Zephyr and the Shroud, Zephyr or Shroud down. And what that'll do is it gives us the best position for each round. So you usually do this in a 1 versus 1 or 1 versus 1 versus 1, 3 people left or 4 people left, or in scenarios where it is crucial to win each round. So sometimes when you are just like, the whole lobby is within 2 HP and you're trying to get this top 4, and maybe you have an upgraded Taric, but you're not using the Socialite Hex or something, and you have a 1-star Oriana on your bench, you've already slammed the item on your Taric for the previous round, you know, maybe it's a good idea to sell the 2-star Taric for a 1-star Oriana just to ensure that you get the Shroud in the right spot for the next round. Most of the time, a perfect Shroud late game is better than an upgraded supporting unit. So as I said, Taric is a supporting unit that I'm not itemizing. So I could sell him as long as Socialite isn't critical to my build. I could sell him for Oriana, which is a comparable unit. You know, she is a enchanter, you know, so I still get my enchanter bonus for having her on the board. But, you know, since she's 1-star, she might not cast. But I'm making the exchange of Taric's tankiness and Taric's healing. I'm making that exchange for mana poisoning his entire team or something like that. So that is a good thing to utilize. And I pretty much do that every game that I make it to hyper late game. Very good to cycle items if you can. Okay, cool. For swapping while holding. Now, this is a very simple technique, and I use this every single game and every single round at the end of the game. I use this tens of times every game. So what is this and why? This is a very simple technique where you pick up your most important unit for positioning, hold it with your mouse, so you leave it clicked, and then you use your hotkeys to cycle through to other players' boards. So if you don't mess with your hotkeys, the default should be Q and R. I just use Q, and I just press Q, and I hold the unit, and I cycle through, and I'll show you guys in the clip in a second. So you do this so that you can counter position at the very last second. So yeah, again, if you're like trying to dodge a Lux, you can hold your carry and then dodge them, or you're trying to dodge an assassin, hold your carry and dodge them, or you're trying to get like a Braum in front of an Urgot or a Yone, or your Frozen Heart in front of them, or Graves in front of them, in front of their carry, then you can just hold them last second, swap. And if the other person isn't doing that, they're not going to be able to keep up with your speed, or they're just going to have to guess whether they do it in time. And so if we are wanting to best position for each round, we just pick up our character, we cycle through with Q, and then we can reposition at the end of the round. Obviously, that's not going to do much in this situation, but you know, if you're doing that in late game situations, you pick up, you know, a Jhin to try to dodge like a Lux, or you're positioning your Braum in front of their Urgot or in front of their Yone, something like that. Selecting augments. So this is really simple, and this is something probably all of you do, but I was trying to find a fifth topic for this, so I put this one in here. But I do think this is very useful information if you just don't already do this, and just can be a nice tip to do this. But picking with more informed or picking last. So the first thing I do every single game is I look for the mutant. Now, if you're watching this 6.5, maybe we don't do mutants anymore. I don't know yet. They haven't announced. But whatever type of trait that changes every single game for set 6, it is mutant. To see if that would be a direction to go with my current items / augment option. So it's very important for me to look at that mutant, because let's say I get offered a mutant heart, and I have really good items to play, like, I don't know, Kog'Maw or reroll protectors, or, you know, I also hit a Cho'Gath the next turn, you know, whenever I do this. So maybe I have an option to play Cho'Gath, maybe I want to force Cho'Gath, something like that, because the thing is good. So I always make sure and I check mutant very first thing at the beginning of the game. So if someone takes a Kassadin from first carousel, I already remember their name and I go to their board immediately so I can read it. Can really help you with choosing your augments. Now, whenever we get to the augment round, I believe 1-4, when the augment screen comes up, don't just insta-click. A lot of people just insta-click. They'll see an augment and they're really like, boom, I'm insta-clicking that. Unless it is like an S+ tier for the patch. So for example, like if it was like maybe 1 patch or 2 patches ago, if you took Metabolic Accelerator on anything before 12.1, everyone joked around that was called the LP Accelerator, because it was good in 99% of situations. So you could just insta-click it, right? But instead of doing that, pick yours last so that you can counter the lobby or protect yourself from contesters. Now, this isn't always best to do. Sometimes I'll intentionally... Now, I'll say for the vast majority of you, waiting to select your augment is going to be good for you. In my ELO, I mean, I play in Challenger ELO. I play Challenger. I play in low Challenger, high Challenger, and I play in like GM lobby sometimes. And in all those ELOs, I like to pick last unless I have one of these S tier augments for my build. But sometimes you can pick first in my ELO, because you can deter other people from going your path. So you could have like the best opener for playing like reroll protectors, and you have a really good opener, and then you have like a mutant heart. Sometimes I know I want to play that build because I have a belt opener, I have Kassadin, Garen, I cast an Garen, maybe I have a 2-star Graves already. So I will just insta-click it just to assert my dominance. And I also will just ping my board once to let everyone know that I am the Mutants player. I'm not obnoxious about it. I just ping once. I go, and I don't type mutant anything, but I let everybody know I am the Mutants player. I am the reroll protector player. So all of you should bow down because I am playing this. You should play something else. So I'm letting everybody know that. But I would say in majority of EOS, people don't cycle through and select. They just don't. I mean, maybe some of you do. Maybe you are a silver player out there who does do this already every single game. But I will just say most players do not, even in Master. Most players will not do this in Master or low GM. So yeah, I always like to pick last. But again, if you're in my UO and you're watching this video for whatever reason, sometimes it is good to pick first to assert your dominance. All right, here we are in game. We're being offered our augments. And so we have Mutant Hearts here, gaining Kog'Maw, Mutant. We have Bruiser, we have Thrill. Now, obviously, if based off my opener, I probably want to play Mutant. And I've already checked the Mutant. It is Darkstar. Very good for playing reroll Kog'Maw, reroll Protector. So that's most likely what I'm going to take. But I can still cycle through everyone else and see what they're going to take. And I can pick last. So I know this person has hyper roll, so this person has a decent chance of top 4ing. If I was playing in my UO, I pick Shrug It Off, so probably going to want to play into Bruisers, going to play around Mercs, so I can avoid that playstyle. Underdogs, just standard very good. Item grab bag, standard very good. Socialite, very good. And so we're going to pick this one. And we almost didn't have enough time to get it in. All right, guys, that is going to be it for the video. I hope you guys learned quite a bit. I feel good about making this one. The top 5 techniques for TFT players. I was going to make this for beginners, but I think this is more for intermediate players, if I'm being honest. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video. If you guys want more of me, you can catch me live at twitch.tv/TrajanTFT. I've been taking a break from playing right now. I always take a 1 to 2 week break in between sets, let my accounts decay. Just don't stress about playing TFT. I need this break from playing. But if you guys want to catch me live, I will be streaming during PvE, which starts next Wednesday at the time of me recording this video, I believe. So I'll be playing that. That is the best time to play with me as well. If you guys want to play some games with me, I do play with viewers the first week, and then the second week I practice either by myself or playing in in-houses, stuff like that. So if you guys want to play with me, that's the best time, and we'll be streaming quite a bit beginning of PvE and the beginning of 6.5 grind. I don't stream my grind a lot because I have a hard time climbing while I'm streaming, but I always stream the beginning of the set because I'm gonna lose a lot of games anyways, so why not just stream it? So if you guys want to catch me live, that is the best time. Other than that, I do post every day on Twitter, pretty much, at twitter.com/TradingTFT. I'd love to see you out there. I'd love to have a bigger following over on Twitter. That'd be great. But if you don't, that's all good. If you guys want to like the video, it helps me a lot on the YouTube algorithm. They really put a lot of emphasis on engagement nowadays. So if you want to like it or comment on the video, I would appreciate that. And I read pretty much all the comments and respond to most of them, unless they are just overtly negative, or I just don't think they like elicit a response from me. Anyways, that's gonna be it. I appreciate all of you, and I hope you guys have a good night. I hope you guys have a good day wherever you are. I just hope you're doing well. See you guys. Bye.